What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome to your Football Manager 2014 daily update for today, the 2nd of September 2013. Today there were some new updates announced, fairly vague. If you've got any ideas what they could mean and maybe I'm completely off the mark, leave them down in the comments. Maybe leave what you interpret these new features to be, because they're very open-ended. And I think they're probably going to be different to what I'm going to say they're going to be, but they do certainly provoke some discussion. Another thing is, if you do enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button. But anyway, with that said, let's get straight into these new features. So the first of the new features announced today was support of multiple contract ends. Now, I have no idea what this means. Obviously, support of multiple contract ends implies there's some kind of new contract with multiple ends. So I'm curious if this means there's going to be maybe some new clauses in contracts. So maybe when you get promoted, a player's contract will be extended by a certain amount of years, maybe. Some way of the possibility of there being more than one contract end in the deal. I mean, this is already existent because there's the whole contract extension after X number of games in your final season of the contract, which makes me think maybe that isn't what this new feature is, but maybe it's got something to do with kind of, if we avoid relegation, you get a new contract and it'll be extended. Who knows? I mean, that's an open-ended one, guys. Let me know what you think. Support multiple contract ends. What could it mean? My interpretation of it is that there'll probably be some new clauses that result in extensions of contracts if certain things happen. Anyway, the second update announced today was the fact that there'll be new MLS reserve leagues and they're going to be updating the MLS reserve leagues, which is a great thing. I talked a lot and I will stress it again and again and again. The MLS is an unbelievably unique league in terms of its rules, and it's only recently that Football Manager really has started to grasp these rules and try and be really accurate with them. So any update to the MLS reserve league is a good one. I myself have never managed in the MLS, but my understanding of the reserve league is that it's in FM currently it's done very much like the other reserve leagues, whereas in kind of the MLS itself it has a very different structure with some very unique rules. So I think that's a good kind of addition to see, and certainly something that's going to, immersify the depth, especially for US players of the game who probably notice that stuff isn't accurate. Anyway, the next feature to be announced today is that agent fees and pro-rated loyalty bonuses come out of your transfer budget and contract bonuses from your wage budget. Now, this one, wow. This one's a bad one. I don't like this feature, and I know this is going to be controversial because it basically makes the game easier, but I really like the idea that you can offer a player, instead of offering him £90,000 a week, you might offer him £80,000 a week and a $7,500 appearance fee bonus. But under the new scheme, these new clauses get taken out of your wage budget. Stuff like, obviously if you offer the agent a fee or a player a fee upon signing, especially at the big clubs, because they can be fairly big fees. If they're coming out of the transfer budget, they're going to have to change something there, be that they increase the overall kind of size of the transfer budget, be that contract budgets are extended. It's a tricky one. My understanding is basically that when you offer extra incentives in contracts or extra deals in transfers, be that agent fees, etc., they're taken out of your transfer and wage budget, which is a big change. It is a big change. It'll be a weird one. I'm going to reserve judgment until the game comes out and I get a chance to get a hand on with it. But I'm a little bit dubious about that one. That could be one that maybe people don't like so much. So, an interesting one nevertheless. Nice to see some big changes to the gameplay though. Potentially something that's going to kind of add a bit more depth to the financial side of things and force you to be a lot stricter with control of them. Anyway, the next new feature announced was the fact that there's a revamp to conversation with concerned players over their asking price. So at the moment in Football Manager, if you offer a player out to other clubs and his asking price is too high, there's a very kind of one-dimensional discussion that comes in when a player comes in and goes, oh, I think my asking price is too high and it's deterring clubs away. And then you have three options, and then he's either transfer listed, he throws a paddy and he isn't transfer listed, or he goes, oh, I see your point, I don't want to leave, and I'm a valuable asset to the team. So they're the three outcomes, very one-dimensional. You guys know what I mean. If you've played enough FM, you'll know that this is such a one-dimensional thing when a player's unhappy about his asking price. So this revamp will hopefully mix things up a little bit in terms of just changing how the game plays a little. So good feature, kind of happy about that. Another new feature, player position labels linked to position selection. Again, this is a vague one. My understanding and my guess would be that, for example, when you go into tactics and you click... I don't even know. I mean, I was going to say that when you're in the tactics screen and you click and then you can select a role for a player, maybe it changes that. So I'm wondering if the player position label is where it says like centre mid, you know, their position. If you click that, there's a drop down menu in it. Rather than having to drag their position on the tactics board, it moves the player's position. But the more I think about it, the more I think that wouldn't be the case. So again, these have been pretty vague. So if you do have ideas as to what player position labels linked to player selection or section means, you know, fire away, because this is one that I'm kind of bamboozled about. It doesn't seem like a major thing either way, but I'm kind of confused as to what this could possibly be. I guess it'll be one of these things which, when the game comes out, it'll probably be the best feature ever, but at the moment I'm kind of sat here head scratching. The next update is the big one, the one that everyone has been waiting for, guys. A massive overhaul to the match engine. Now Ungentlemanly conduct has been renamed Unsporting Behaviour when a player dives. That's what everyone wanted to see in the change in the match engine. That's a big feature update for the 1000th. I think that's probably the biggest one that they had on their list. They've held it for a while now, and that's going to totally revolutionise the match engine. So that's a big one. I mean, that renaming totally changes the context of the game, and it's really going to revolutionise how I play FM. So yeah, there's not a lot more I can say about that one other than I'm very excited to be now referring to diving as Unsporting Behaviour. Anyway, last and not least today, recommended player button added in the news item for staff signings. Now, my understanding of this is that there'll be a new news item which contains a recommended player button, and from this you can click when a staff comes to your club. There'll be the recommendation in there. So be that when you sign a coach from another team, he may suggest teams or players who are from the club he used to play for who he thinks could suit well. Be that with scouts. But that's an interesting one. I think the whole idea of maybe having a little bit more kind of integration of coaching members with certain players, and kind of as they switch clubs, recommending the new club previous players that they've worked with, could be a very interesting one. And so to have this recommended player button added in the news item when a new staff signing comes is an interesting one, and it certainly opens up the idea that there may be new kind of relationships between players and staffs come Football Manager 2014. So that one could be an interesting one. I didn't really get that one to begin with, but the more I think about it, the more I think, yes, that could lead to some good things. But anyway, guys, that is the update for today. Pretty big update, obviously the match engine change with the renaming, but other than that, pretty stale news. As I mentioned at the start and halfway through the video, if there's any of these terms which you think, or these ideas and these features that they've announced that I'm kind of conceiving and you think there's a different meaning behind it, feel free to leave it in the comments. It's a great thing kind of to get your guys' feedback and your guys' input on this stuff. But yeah, that is everything for this video. If you did enjoy, please smash the like button. It does help me out. Let's see if we can get something like 40 likes. Not a lot to ask, but these videos don't seem to get as many likes. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more Football Manager 2013 and 2014 content. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.